I'm recording a new warning for case 4. Rather than reuse the old one, because at this point you've heard it about 4 times and it was a bit rambling. Case 4 should have a trigger warning for suicide, including a picture of a suicide scene. The method of death was hanging, if that's important for your triggers. And the picture is shown quite a lot in this case. There's also some trigger warnings for treatment of people who have mental illness or need therapy. Specifically, there's a character who is deemed codependent in a way that personally I find kind of stigmatizing and potentially triggering to people. So I wanted to warn for both of those things. If you want to continue watching the video, just please be aware of those 2 content issues. Thank you so much, and now into the video.
Hello everyone, welcome to another Let's Play of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. My name is Anna Myrtle. I actually want to apologize for going so long between videos, except because I scheduled them so far in advance. I don't think this one will actually have a delay between videos, but it's been literally weeks since I played Phoenix Wright. Hopefully I still remember what's going on. I did rewatch my videos a couple days ago in preparation for this, so I could at least kind of remind myself what was going on. And I'm a little shaky today because I have some bad personal news stuff going on. But it was either not record anything and have a meltdown in my bedroom and cry all day and leave you without a video, or put my big girl britches on, or big NB britches on, whatever you wish, and come in here and record a video and take my mind off things. So, just as a warning, I may cry more than I usually do, but we're going to get a good video out of this, okay? I do have 2 notes that I wanted to put down. This was note number 1. I wrote, Edgeworth let them prosecute Max even though he knew Acro was the killer? Question mark. And the only thing I can think is that Edgeworth didn't feel, well, the only moral reason I can think is that Edgeworth didn't feel like he had enough clout with the prosecutor office to say, no, trust me, I'm certain that you're prosecuting an innocent man and it's really Acro. And all he could do is help Phoenix Wright by having Gumshoe time the search and witness seizure the way that he did. But still, that stuck out at me when I was rewatching my old videos. And then the other thing I wrote, and this was about this case, did the studios know about the confession? So we've been building up to, and we still don't know what it's all about, that the Nickel Samurai was going to have a PR event, a press conference, and he was gonna give some kind of confession. And we've since learned that the actual Nickel Samurai on guard, or actor Matt Onguard, knew nothing about it, or he says he knew nothing about it. And his manager and his rival had planned for the rival to wear a extra Nickel Samurai suit in order to give the press conference pretending to be Matt Onguard and to give this confession. And I'm sitting here thinking, press conferences are big freaking things that require a lot of studio support in order to set them up and get all the wheels turning. You don't just get to just, I think I'll host a press conference today. You know, there's a lot that goes into it. And this whole confession thing was supposedly well known. So did the studios know that their star actor was supposedly going to get up and confess something that apparently they didn't even know what the confession was going to be? Because that would make me extremely nervous if I owned a, you know, $1 million TV franchise if the actor was like, yes, I plan to get up in my costume, thus associating myself forever with your brand, and confess to something, but I can't tell you what it is. Like, no, you're gonna tell me what it is first before I suddenly sign on to that. So I'm assuming that's just kind of a writing plot hole, that we're not supposed to think about the fact that those things take time, but it kind of bugs me. Two more things. One, apparently it is canon in the anime that Von Karma took Miles Edgeworth in as a child when he was an orphan, after killing his father, and that just honestly wrecks me on the inside, because having your adoptive father being the one who murdered in cold blood your bio father that you loved and you miss, that seems really awful. And then to turn around and try to frame you later, because I mean, to realize that the adopted father that you love and you went into his line of work instead of your bio father's line of work, to realize that he did all that to kill your father and frame you, I just, like, I kind of burst into tears when I found that out. It really upsets me. But apparently that's how Miles and Franziska know each other, so at least explains that. Although I still don't know how Franziska knew her father, because the timeline still doesn't match up, but okay, whatever. Secondly, one of you mentioned, Shy Blue Hope, hi, hello, mentioned that Franziska should have actually been the prosecutor for this, because Maya's kidnapping could have been the catalyst for Franziska to realize her worldview is flawed. The moral conundrum of an innocent girl dying and her kidnapper going free if Franziska wins could have been used to make her reflect on the potential consequences of her behavior up until now. There are real lives on the line in the courtroom, and she shouldn't use it as a battleground for her own personal vendetta. That is beautiful. My God, yes. I read that and was like, yes, obviously. I hadn't even thought about that, but that would be wonderful, and it would fit the kind of the arc of this following the first game, because the fourth case in the first game was where Edgeworth realized that his worldview had been wrong, and that, you know, life was more complicated than he thought it was. And this could be where Franziska, who has up till now been feeling the Edgeworth role for this game, could realize that. So I never would have thought about that, but the way you laid it out, I was like, my God, it's perfect. Franziska was completely robbed. I love that Edgeworth came back, but he should have come back in a support role to her and been like with her in the courtroom, like sort of guiding her a little bit, you know, maybe to keep her from just running roughshod over Phoenix, because I think she would otherwise, but for her to actually have the realization that, oh, holy crap, I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it to the point where I just want to, like, mod the entire game and fix that. But it's such a beautiful, wonderful idea. So thank you for that. Okay. Oh, please, God, let me have saved that game before my computer crashed. Yes. Here we go. We're back in the Gatewater Hotel. With the, I'm sorry, but incredibly creepy bears. I mean, look at this one. If that doesn't look like that makes me think of like Five Nights at Freddy's, and my soul is going to be eaten. I'm not okay.
It's past 9 p.m. already, isn't it? I wonder if Mr. Edgeworth has already found Mystic Maya. These things take time. I'd say probably not. The police are professionals, Pearls. They'll find her, so don't you worry. And if we can win a not guilty verdict tomorrow, then everything will be okay. You're right!
Oh, baby.
So the real person who killed Mr. Kurita was that assassin, Mr. Shelley de Killer, right? And the card Miss Andrews found at the crime scene seems to be proof of that. But if that's the case, then a new question comes to mind. Who was the one that hired the killer to begin with? Who is his client? You mean, who asked for the murder? That person didn't want to dirty their own hands in blood. But whoever this client is, they're still the killer.
Oh, somebody pointed out. okay, yeah, Francisca's 18 and Adrian's 23. I would... That is a pretty big-ish age gap at that age. I agree, Jen. Give him a couple years and it'll be fine. So really what I want is for Adrian to have a couple years of therapy and Francisca to have a couple years of therapy for completely different reasons. Oh, and maybe like one day, a couple years from now, when they're doing a lot better, they actually meet in the therapist's office and they go for like coffee afterwards. And yeah, no, I can work with that. Okay.
Who could have hired the assassin? Do you think it was Miss Andrews?
I wonder. But if she was the client, why go through all the effort to stab the knife into the corpse herself? Yeah, no, I don't think it's Andrews.
But if Miss Andrews wasn't the client, we haven't met anyone else. It has to be either Lotta or Old Bag or Matt. Then, no, it can't be.
Matt Onguard himself?
If Mr. Onguard really did hire the assassin,
that he is not innocent at all. Far from it, he would be guilty of the crime.
Is that quite true? He'd be guilty of conspiracy to commit murder, and he'd be an accessory to murder. I don't know if he'd be guilty of murder in the, like, in a sense of what he's currently being charged with, but again, this isn't America. But it can't be Mr. Onguard, right? I mean, when we first talked with him...
Mr. Onguard, I'd like to ask you one question. Did you kill Mr. Juan Kurita? Alright, just so we're clear, dude. I didn't kill anyone, and that includes Juan Kurita, okay? I didn't see any psyche locks at that time.
Actually, that reminds me. Did you remember something, Mr. Nick?
Something Miss Andrews said at the trial today. She said something interesting.
What is this interesting thing?
Oh, that's right. You didn't hear it, did you, Pearls? Juan had bet everything on the Jammin' Ninja this year. And if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway. It looked like somehow Juan had in his hands a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed.
Mr. Onguard's secret? What is this secret?
I don't know yet. But for now, let's think about it this way. Mr. Kurita was going to reveal this secret. That means Mr. Onguard had plenty of motive to have Mr. Kurita silenced. It's assuming the secret's even real and not something he made up, but okay. Which means we have to meet with Mr. Onguard. There's no way around it now. Okay. Oh god. That one too. It's looking at me. And it looks unhappy. Okay.
Wow, it's really getting late, isn't it, Mr. Nick?
Yeah, it's past 9 p.m. already. But we still have some things to prepare for tomorrow's trial. There's still the matter of the secret Mr. Kurita held about Mr. Onguard and Miss Andrews' real intentions. Those are two things I must know tonight.
Aren't visiting hours over at the detention center?
I'm sure we'll think of something, Pearls. Don't you worry. Seems like that could have been done in the actual room, but okay. Hi there.
Hey, wait! What is it, whippersnapper? All I know is that nothing has anything to do with you is ever good. Just like now, I was added into this strange device for who knows what reason, and I was told to use it to search the whole hotel.
That's the bug sweeper, isn't it? The one Gumshoe made.
I don't know, and frankly, I don't care. But the request came from Edgy Poo, so...
Edgeworth?
And he said...
If you feel angry, direct your anger at that unsophisticated lawyer. Baby! Why? What if she shoots us with a real gun that isn't a ray gun? You don't know.
So I'm going to feel free to direct all my anger towards you.
Gee, thanks a bundle, Edgeworth. What a pal you are. Does that mean he wants us to be bug swept?
This is absolutely top secret, so you'd better keep it to yourself. I heard they found a spy camera hidden in one of the presents.
Very interesting.
I'm sure it was, you know, to catch poor Juan in the middle of a scandalous meeting. Scandalous? What's that? It means, well, you know, that gossip that's been going around about my dear Juan.
You mean that thing about Miss Andrews?
I feel like if this is accurate at all and not a parody, Japan must be a very different place from where I live anyway, because I really just don't understand how two adults having consensual sex with each other would be a news scandal. I guess if his whole thing is predicated on being single and available and sexy to the women, then I guess in that case it would make sense. It'd be less of a scandal and more of a, you know, sources say that the lady killer Juan Kurita is no longer available, and so I can get that, but I'm just, the part where it's scandalous and people are fainting over the news, I'm like, really? They're adults, they're co-workers, okay. Okay. I'm sure she must have had some reason for getting close to Mr. Kurita. I'll let you in on another secret, youngin'. I know who planted that spy camera. It was that obnoxious, puffy-haired photographer girl. The nerve of some people. Spying on people by herself, as if I wouldn't want to see it for myself, too. Wow, the alien actually admitted her true intentions for a change. I don't know what you're thinking exactly, but I can bet it's nothing good. But I didn't say anything. So you want to know about Juan and that manager, right? Actually, as I hear, they were something of a refreshing pair, those two. Refreshing like a spring breeze? Oh? I tell you, Juan really welcomed that manager with open arms, I heard. That manager? Who are you talking about? You don't know? That manager woman Juan had. It's a shame she killed herself, though. Wait, I think you have them mixed up? Oh, you're talking about Miss Celeste Impax, Miss Andrews' mentor, right? Yes, that's the one. That Celeste girl. She was supposed to get married, you know. Married? You mean to Mr. Kurita? Really? You young kids say don't know anything, do you? That girl Celeste killed herself 3 days after their marriage announcement. 3 days after the marriage announcement? What in the... God, I'm really glad I'm putting the warning on all of these. Why would Miss Impax want to kill herself? She was going to get married. Well, that's because she was thrown away, you see, by Juan. What? But they were going to get married, right? They promised each other, right? They held a grand announcement session, but 3 days later, Juan suddenly canceled their marriage. That seems like an important detail that Edgeworth didn't bring up. But then again, he says he doesn't pay attention to celebrity gossip. Is that true? It was in the weekly magazines. Why? Why did he do that? That was not in the magazines, unfortunately. I see. That night after Juan called off the wedding, the manager, Celeste, killed herself. How terrible. I wonder what happened between those two. Jesus. I wish they wouldn't keep showing that photo. It's unexpectedly upsetting to me. On that night, there must have been at least a few hundred people here. I guess the police are done with their questioning, investigating. It looks like things here in the lobby have finally calmed down. Can we go back to his house? Looks like no one is around. What happened to that person with the stuffed teddy face? She must mean the butler with the stitches in his face. Shoo! Oh, there you are. I guess you're still awake, huh, Shoo? Come on, let's play. I wonder if the butler, Mr. Doe, is asleep already. There's a small door at the bottom of this bigger door. I bet it's for Mr. Ongar's cat to use. The door is locked tight. I was hoping we could, you know, just walk in, find Maya, as one is wont to do. It doesn't look like Mr. Scruffy Detective is here. Well, he's out there with that camera, asking around at all the electronics stores. I'll make some salad for him for dinner. It looks like Pearls really appreciates what Gumshoe is doing for us. Mr. Nick? Yes? Where is the lettuce? I don't think I've ever bought lettuce before. I guess I have to give up on making a salad then. The lack of lettuce is kind of a problem. I mean, I think you can use spinach leaves, but if you don't buy lettuce, you probably don't buy spinach either. And I'm not judging because I don't buy either. Visiting hours ended a few hours ago. We're not going to get a chance to talk with Mr. Ongar tonight. But isn't what we have to ask very important? I don't think that matters to the guard. Where are we supposed to go? It feels sort of tense in here, doesn't it, Mr. Nick? Yeah, it does. I wonder if something happened. I mean, one of their bosses regularly goes around whipping people, so... You're Mr. Ongar's lawyer, right? Yes, sir. Well, we finally found just the person we've been looking for. A real decisive witness. A decisive witness? You mean for the Ongar case? We're talking to the witnesses. We're taking the witness's statement right now. Gotta hand it to Mr. Edgeworth. What's Edgeworth up to now? Who is this witness? I think you know this person quite well, Mr. Lawyer. Mr. Nick? Between the kidnapper's demand and now this, I can't see any way to win here. Mr. Edgeworth wanted me to tell you something. He did? Even though visiting hours are long over the detention center, he wanted me to grant you special permission, so there you go. What? I've already called them, so they know. Go on, go talk to your heart's content. Thank you very much. This is such good news, Mr. Nick. Go talk to your heart's content? It sounds like the police are pretty sure they have tomorrow's trial in the bag. I don't know why you're so discouraged, Phoenix. The police are always sure of that. And then I point out things like, actually, human beings can't fly off into the sky, even if they're magicians. And they're all like, my God, he's a witch! Burn him! I'm sure they must have transferred Miss Andrews here by now. So that means that both Mr. Ongar and Miss Andrews are in this detention center. Now then, whose story do I want to hear? Well, let's start with Matt. Dude, it's Mr. Wright. I hope you can get me off the hook tomorrow. I'm counting on you. I hope so too. Edgeworth just dropped a bombshell on me by saying that Juan Kurita was killed by an assassin, and that the assassin's client is this man, Matt Ongar. What's wrong? Mr. Ongar, there is something I must know with 100% certainty. You seem kind of different. You're totally not like your usual lawyer dude self. About the press conference. You mean the one where Juan was going to dress up as the Nickel Samurai? Yeah. I heard a little more about it from Miss Andrews. It looked like somehow Juan had in his hands a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. Again, why are we assuming it was true and not a lie? Could you please fill me in on what this secret is? Please? Uh-oh. No. 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 Holy shit. 5 of them? I knew this was coming. Mr. Nick, don't tell me. Psyche locks. You said a secret, right? But I don't have any idea what it is. Do you, dude? Do you know about Mr. Kurita and Ms. Andrews' relationship?
Well, it's all over the tabloids, dude. But I don't know any of the details, if that's what you mean. How many times did I tell you? I don't care what Juan did with his life.
Miss Andrews, she had a purpose in mind when she started seeing Mr. Kurita. Her mentor was Mr. Kurita's manager, and Miss Andrews was going to get Miss Celeste Impax's suicide note from him.
Celeste.
Does that jog any memories?
Dude, I suddenly just got totally hungry. You up for pizza? My treat.
Mr. Nick, what's a pizza? Is it a kind of pea, like green peas?
Oh god, we're getting you some later.
Okay, so let me think. Let's go eat one later, okay?
I got cut off by the pizza dude at the shop.
That's too bad.
Well, how about we get our minds off this topic and talk about something else, okay?
Mr. Engard, are you connected to Miss Impax's suicide in some way?
Okay. It's time to theorize. Matt and Juan have been rivals, trying to one-up each other forever. Juan was in love with Celeste and wanted to marry her. What if Matt had sex with Celeste, or led Juan to believe he had sex with Celeste, and Juan called the wedding off because he didn't want to be with someone who had been with his rival? Celeste maybe told the truth, that it had been a lie, and committed suicide. But why would Juan hide the note? Like, wouldn't you want the world to know that? Well, but I guess he could have been ashamed that he believed a lie, and in doing so spurned his fiancée and led her to kill herself. So he just hid the note rather than stir up the whole thing in the tabloids. I mean, people were already gonna blame him for her death because he was the one who called off the wedding, and the note didn't make him seem any less. If anything, it made him seem badder because he got fooled. But he kept the note as a insurance policy against Matt, and if he couldn't beat Matt this year at the Grand Prix, he was going to reveal that Matt had tricked him into calling off his wedding. So Matt decided, I don't see how that would have ended his career forever, but this is a society that apparently finds it incredibly scandalous that two people are fucking, so Matt decided to have him killed rather than... Matt had Celeste's picture on in his room, though, and you don't usually have a picture of some woman you don't know, but you're just pretending to have slept with. So maybe the relationship had been real? So maybe Matt really did have a relationship with Celeste, but it was over, and after the engagement, he told Juan, "Yeah, we used to be lovers, you know, enjoy my leftovers," or whatever, you know. Juan called it off. Celeste died, and everything then followed. It's really hard for me to see how that suicide note would end Matt's career, though. But we're operating on logic that I don't fully understand at this stage, so... Okay. I guess we have to go back so we can come back and talk to what's-her-face? Adrian. Hey, honey. Oh, it's you. I'm sorry to be visiting at such a late hour, but there are a few questions I absolutely have to ask you tonight. Me? I thought your client was Matt. I'm sure Miss Andrews knows something. She can't be clueless about this secret Mr. Kurita had on Mr. Engard. I'd like to ask you about Matt Engard, if you don't mind. Mr. Wright, you still don't know, do you? The real him, I mean. You seem to bear a lot of resentment toward Mr. Engard. If that's the case,
Why did you become his manager? And why would you become intimate with his rival? That has nothing to do with this case. Nothing.
I feel like it does.
About Miss Celeste Impacts. I had finally put her death behind me. And now, thanks to you, it's all come back to the surface. I'm sorry. I was shocked by her suicide. And it's true that when I heard the rumor that Juan was the one who had hidden her suicide note, I began to draw close to him. I wanted to get her suicide note back and burn it.
Oh, God. Oh, babe. No, I understand that.
You wanted to burn it? But why? I didn't want it to spread like just another piece of gossip. But I never held any murderous intent toward Juan. I would never do something so stupid. The suicide note. I wonder what it said. Why did you try to frame Mr. Engard? That's simple. Because he's the killer. That's why. Isn't it the duty of every good citizen to inform the police?
But there had to be another way.
The police are excellent at doing their job, so they'd figure it out, right?
Phoenix, what game have you been playing?
Yes, they're so good that they couldn't figure out the real truth behind Celeste's death.
Miss Andrews.
Well, I know you're not the type of person to do something without a reason, so please tell me why you did what you did. Revenge.
Huh? Did you say something just now?
Oh dear. Well, at least it's just one.
A psyche lock.
I don't know what to use to break it, though.
Don't you understand yet? You're not my lawyer. To be honest, you're more like my enemy.
But
I'm sure I just heard Miss Andrews say revenge.
Would you like me to be your lawyer? No. Maybe they're done with this witness of theirs.
Mr. Wright, please, you have to help me.
Uh-oh. Mr. Powers?
what happened? Why are you here?
Oh, you see, I got roped into this somehow.
What?
And now I'm going to testify at tomorrow's trial.
So the decisive witness is Mr. Powers?
I was talking with a detective until a little while ago and I was on my way home. When all of a sudden, you're under arrest and I was brought back here.
Oh.
They said my face and whole self in general looked suspicious or something.
Well, I guess I can see how they thought you looked suspicious.
I'm just a normal guy on an exercise show for kids. Is that a crime?
Oops, that's not what I meant. About this testimony you're giving, what are you going to talk about?
I really don't know yet, but it sounds like I saw something pretty important from what they tell me.
You saw something important? What was it?
Well, the detective told me not to talk about it. You can't tell anyone, and especially not that lawyer, he said.
Who do you think that lawyer the detective was talking about?
I'm going to take a wild guess and say it's me. Yeah, you got it.
Mr. Nick! Mystic Maya and myself are your only two allies in this world, but it's all right!
I don't really have a lot of friends, do I?
It should not be legal to withhold witness statement from us. Like, if it's a good enough statement, it'll hold up in court without us being surprised by it.
This is going to do a lot of damage to Matt, you know, because he's got that refreshing like a spring breeze image going.
What is he really like?
Well, let's see. Matt's always been kind of a player with women. He would never really turn a pretty face away, if you know what I mean. He'd always say, it's just a game, to justify himself. What? How horrible! That's unforgivable! Sorry, didn't mean to offend you. But you know, he said once that there's only one person in the whole world who won't swoon over me. One person who wouldn't swoon over him? His manager, you know, Ms. Adrian Andrews. Why is Mr. Powers suddenly looking kind of energetic? You see, I'm actually a sucker for gossip. I mean, celebrities in the world have this dazzling sort of image, right? A dazzling sort of image? But aren't you part of that dazzle, Mr. Powers? No, I'm more of a hairy, sweaty, smelly, brutish kind of guy, you see. But it's okay, really. I get to hear plenty of gossip about a lot of the other stars around me as things happen. Well, that's true. Oh, hey, so did you hear about this yet? About Miss Andrews' mentor and her suicide? You mean Miss Impacts? We heard something about how her wedding was cancelled. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I thought about it a little the other day, about the mysterious death. Mr. Wright, why don't you ask me about that? Go on, go ahead. Mr. Powers is so charged up, his skin is practically glowing. Have you heard about this? Celeste left a suicide note. And they say that Juan went and hid it. We did hear about that in court today. But there wasn't any actual proof that she had left a note. Well, this is what I think. I think that something bad was written on that note. Something bad for Juan, that is. Something bad for Mr. Kurita? Why do you figure so? Well, before she died, Celeste talked with a few of her friends, and she said it looks like I got caught up with a truly insidious man. A truly insidious man? Did she mean Mr. Kurita by that? Well, there's no one else that fits that bill, right? Oh, baby. And that would be reason enough for him to hide the note. I see. Well, that's some good info. You're welcome. Mr. Ongard and Ms. Andrews, they're both at the detention center right now. There are still things I don't understand or know about, I'm sure. I have to get the two of them to tell me everything. Mr. Nick, your phone! Hey, that's the Steel Samurai theme song, isn't it? I don't like the sound of this ringtone right now. It sounds kind of ominous. I know. Hello? We're in trouble now, pal! I'll be back at the office really soon. What's wrong? Something really unexpected just happened. Mr. Edgeworth, Edgeworth? Anyway, hurry up and get back to the office, pal. I don't know what's going on anymore. It's no good. What? The guy got cut off. What's going on, Mr. Nick? Gumshoe said we need to go back to the office right away. Then we should hurry back. I'm scared. What are you talking about? Mr. Nick, pull yourself together. Maybe it'll be good news. I love him. I love him so much. I love him. What took you so long, pal? Mr. Edgeworth couldn't stick around forever and had to go. What happened? We got him. We know who bought the spy camera. Huh? This quickly? And this bear's what gave him away, pal. The bear. And I figured it out, pal. I figured that we should have been looking into the bear instead of the camera. Wasn't it Edgeworth? Shh, Pearls. And, go on. There's only one person who bought one of these bears who's related to this crime. Who is it? Who would be so rude as to spy on another person in their room? Matt on guard. Really? Huh? Matt on guard. Your client, that's who, pal. Here I thought things couldn't get any worse. Surely it's better. If he was spying on him, he probably wasn't killing him. Are you sure you heard right? That the person who bought this beer was... I heard it from the department store clerk, pal. This is the credit card receipt for the purchase. It's for $3,800, pal. That's an exact match to the price of that stuffed bear. A receipt? That's all you have? Nah, it's not just a receipt, pal. The store clerk said so himself. He told me I'm sure I sold this bear to Mr. Ongard. I mean, the clerk even got Mr. Ongard's autograph out of it, pal. So I'm sure the person that bought the stuffed bear was Mr. Ongard himself. My sight is failing me. $3,800, my God. This
Straight to the guillotine with you, Matt.
So what about the spy camera we found?
That was a dead end, pal. You can get this kind of thing anywhere. But for now, I guess I can give these back to you to file away into evidence. I know you don't want to give up, pal.
I just didn't think it was possible. The person who put the spy camera in Juan Kurita's room was Matt. Why would Mr. Ongard do something like this?
I bet it was to catch Ms. Andrews and Mr. Kurita in one of their rendezvous.
I bet it's not good enough. I have to know the absolute truth. Oh no, it's me. I have to know the absolute truth behind this camera. It's got a pearl on the screen.
Are you going to see him? Mr. Ongard, I mean? Yes.
I'm scared, Mr. Nick. I wonder what we will find out next. I'm scared myself, but I have to put on a good face for pearls. Matt Ongard, what in the world have you done? Well, everyone seems to want me to go talk to Matt, so let's try.
You're working really late, you know. It's already past 10 p.m., dude.
I think it's time you told me the truth.
Relax. Don't you know that ignorance is bliss? If you really want to know, let's talk.
Alright, let's hope I got it, because if I don't got it, I don't know what else to do. Let's hear what the secret of yours is. What if Mr. Kurita had been successful in his plan? What would he have disclosed?
I told you before, dude, I don't know. I don't know anything about Juan, okay? Look, Mr. Wright, I can keep saying it until I'm blue in the face, but I totally didn't pay Juan any attention the whole time that night. I mean, come on, I was in the middle of a nap.
Don't lie to me.
Huh?
I know you paid close attention to Mr. Kurita, especially on that night.
Boop.
Take that!
Someone used this camera to secretly film Mr. Kurita's room the night of the murder.
Secretly film? What?
And then sent the images the camera took with this transmitter.
Wow, but dude, where was this camera you're talking about hidden?
The spy camera was hidden in this bear's eye. A bear that was supposed to be a present from a fan.
I guess Juan had a few of those kinds of fans too, huh, dude?
Actually, I wouldn't say this bear was a present from a fan.
You sure, dude? Who else could it be from?
The person who gave this bear to Juan Kurita was...
He was a person, so...
You!
Take that!
Mr. Ongard, don't you know this bear from somewhere?
I don't think I've ever met Mr. Bear before, dude.
He says he knows you. How could you forget such a great friend?
What else did the bear tell you?
He says that the one who put the camera in his eye was you, Mr. Ongard.
If I didn't know how you work in court, I'd think I was in some serious trouble. Come on, this is all a joke, right, dude? You're just pulling my leg.
Looks like you're not ready to give up your secret yet.
Do you have any proof you want to show me first?
Here is proof that it was you who put the camera inside the bear.
Take that!
I have here one credit card receipt, Mr. Ongard. It's from where you bought the stuffed bear.
Dude, all you can tell from this is that I spent $3,800. I go to that department store all the time, okay? This $3,800 could be the toothbrush I bought that one time.
Guillotine! Straight to the guillotine. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. A $3,800 toothbrush?
It's ivory, and it's got elephant hair for bristles.
Ew. Is that what rich people use nowadays? Anyway... The store clerk clearly remembers you and your purchase. After all, you even gave him an autograph, did you not?
Dude, you should have said that earlier. So, can I ask you one thing?
Yes.
You're my lawyer, right, dude?
So if you are, why are you looking into stuff like that? Because if I don't know the truth, I can't help you. Sounds more like stupid lawyer talk to me. Hey, let's stop talking about this, okay?
Not yet. I haven't asked why you set the camera up yet. And what your secret is. Of course, it would be strictly confidential.
So, what are you going to do now?
I'm going to find out what I want to know, because I must. The reason you hid this camera in Mr. Kurita's room and filmed it in secret is...
There's two options. One is that he was trying to catch him with Adrian. The other is that he was providing himself an alibi or proof because he really did hire to kill her. You wouldn't think he would normally care about Adrian and Juan, but he did say that there was one woman he couldn't get, Adrian. And he might have been okay with that and just thought she was unattainable. You know, like lesbian or asexual or just in some way not interested in men, and therefore him not being interested in him wasn't personal. But then she seemed to be interested in Juan, his rival. So I could see him being upset about that. Both are plausible. I don't know which one is right. I'll start with Adrian.
Take that!
Adrian Andrews, there is a rumor going around that Miss Andrews and Mr. Kurita were having secret meetings. You, who was keeping tabs on Mr. Kurita, you were going to reveal this as fact and turn it into a scandal. Isn't that right?
Dude, you can be such a moron. Mr. Lawyer Dude, that kind of scandal, that's the good stuff. That's what we in the industry call juicy.
The good stuff? Juicy?
Look, we can get publicity without spending a penny with that kind of stuff. If people stopped paying attention to us, it'd be the end, dude.
Too bad that wasn't your intention.
What are you talking about, dude?
I wished your reason for spying was something innocent, but it wasn't. You didn't spy on Mr. Kurita because of Miss Andrews. Then there's only one reason I can think of for you to do such a thing. The real reason was... because of that.
Take that!
What is this card?
Maybe he doesn't know about the card. This is a certain man's calling card. The man's name is Shelley the Killer. And I'm sure you know of him, don't you?
Shelley the Killer? That's ridiculous. Why would I know some shady scumbag like him?
If you really don't know him, why are you acting so jumpy all of a sudden? This is it. I'm finally starting to get to the truth. I can't afford to make any more mistakes now. Mr. Matt on guard. I know why you know Mr. the Killer. It's because you're his client. Since you're the one who set up that camera, that means you knew. You knew exactly what was going to happen in that room. So, how would you know something like that? It's because you're his client. That's why. You hired Shelley the Killer to assassinate Mr. Juan Kurita. The real mastermind behind this whole murder is you, Matt on guard.
And here I was, trying to be a good boy for you, dude. I thought if you didn't know, you'd be able to do your job without feeling bad. Well, that's what I thought anyway.
Mr. Ongard, you really did hire...
Hold on a sec. I'm gonna consult myself, okay?
Consult myself?
Well, I guess it's probably about time anyway. What time for what? I think it's time for you to meet him now, Mr. Lawyer Dude. Meet who? Hi? How did he suddenly get a goblet of wine? The scars are hot, I'm not gonna lie about that. Why do you hide them? They're wonderful. Okay, I don't even know how to do his voice, because it's not like Surfer Dude anymore. How do you do, Mr. Lawyer? I'm Matt on guard. Jesus. My DM has been utterly dragging my ass to purgatory and back, because she loves dragging me about falling for bad guys. And girls. But just in general. And I'm really glad that she's not watching these videos, because whatever Matt's doing is working for me, actually. I like this Matt better than the other Matt. Okay, I can be professional. There's a line in... If you haven't seen Melissa McCarthy's Spy, I love it. It's so good. It's like a Bond film, but with a fat woman, and she's wonderful. And it makes me cry every time because it's so good. But there's a bit where the villain is revealed, and he's a very attractive guy, and her aide is like, "Oh, I'm on his side. I'm sorry, I can't be objective anymore." And then she's like, I'm just joking, Susan. Don't report me." So I like that line. I'm rooting for that guy. I'm on his side now. I'm just joking. Don't report me. Alright. Well done, Mr. Wright. I bet it wasn't easy to gather as much information as you have. He even has, like, vampire teeth now. You are Shelley DeKiller's client? You didn't really think I would throw my own hands in this, did you? Well, what do you mean? And that woman, Adrian, was quite brave herself. Trying to stick the crime on me, I didn't think she had it in her. But all I care about is that Juan is dead. Isn't that right, Mr. Lawyer?
You're lying! What a terrible...
It's way past your bedtime, little girl. Go on, and let us grown-ups talk about more adult things.
But why? Why did you hide the video camera and...
A weakling soon believes the words of others, just like that pathetic Adrian. He knew about Miss Andrews' secrets? But I'm no weakling. I don't believe anyone, least of all assassins. What? Oh, come on now, Mr. Wright. Assassins aren't above blackmail. They turn their clients into cash cows by holding the sinful deed over their heads. And a superstar like me, how much do you think I'm worth? Care to guess?
And that's why?
Yeah, that's where the video comes in. It's got his face and the crime scene recorded on it, preserved for all time. With that, I can keep him at bay and even blackmail him if I want. That's right, that video is my insurance. Isn't that what they call it, Mr. Wright?
Why would you do something so wrong?
Because I'm a grown-up and I can? Good enough of an answer for you, little girl? I'm gonna start using that. Because I'm a grown-up and I can?
Why would you kill Mr. Kurita?
Because he was about to sling so much dung onto my beautiful public image. Scandals are a little annoying, aren't they? This is all because of the press conference, isn't it?
If Mr. Kurita had been able to give it, then Mr. Onguard's secret would have...
Well, that's what we call taking advantage of the situation, you know? And I had no interest in doing it, really, but bit by bit it crept up on me. And then the situation just presented itself perfectly. How beautiful, I thought.
And that's how Mr. Kurita ended up dead.
Well, let me tell you something. I'm not like Adrian. I don't depend on anyone. People are simply things to be used and thrown away. Put on a sweet, innocent face, and people will swallow anything you feed them. Adrian fell for it. The assassin, too. Oh, and how can I forget? Even you fell for it, Mr. Lawyer. Everyone, all working their butts off for me. Matt on guard. Oh, did that leave you speechless? What a shame. What's wrong, Mr. Lawyer? You've grown awfully quiet. How could I have been so deceived by you all this time? When we first met, I asked if you had killed Juan Kurita, and you answered very clearly that you hadn't killed anyone. Hey now, I never told you any lies. The person who did the killing was that killer guy, right? All I'm guilty of is taking a catnap in my room. You killed Mr. Kurita. I dare you to say that in court tomorrow. Aw, but too bad. You can't. You're my lawyer after all, aren't you? You could always drop my case and refuse to represent me. How does that sound? Aw, but you can't, can you? That would be the one thing you absolutely can't do.
Mystic Maya!
You wouldn't want to test a killer. He's a man of his word, or so I hear. You could end up getting a certain friend of yours rubbed out if you lose. You scoundrel! So if I were you, Mr. Wright, Esquire, I think I would give it my all tomorrow. Remember, everyone likes a happy win-win resolution. I'll get you for this. That's such a cliche phrase. Juan said something like that, if my memory serves. Of course, well, we all know how well things turned out for him, don't we? Good night, Mr. Lawyer. Maya, what am I supposed to do?
And now you finally found it.
Oh, it was Edgeworth. I thought it was actually Mia. The starting line of this case. Edgeworth. Well, I don't care for the horrid atmosphere here. Let's return to the precinct. Because there's much less horrid atmosphere here in this den of lies and calumny and just general incompetence. Well, Wright, what are you going to do? If you plan on changing your strategy...
No! We can't do that!
That's right. He's holding Maya hostage. What should I do? That's not something I can answer for you.
Mr. Edgeworth!
Great. Only you can decide where to go from here. 1 year ago. At that time, I didn't truly understand what a prosecutor was. That is why I had to leave the prosecutor's office. I felt I couldn't stand in a court of law until I knew what a prosecutor was. And now, Wright, it's your turn. My turn? What is this thing called a lawyer? What can you do as one? You must find the answer, and you must find it on your own. I'm a lawyer, but to fight for someone who is clearly a killer. Not on guard. That man is really...
Can't we just acquit him of doing the actual killing and then convict him of conspiracy? Like, that seems like an elegant solution.
It doesn't matter who. Every person deserves a proper defense and a fair trial. Isn't that the basis of our judicial system? Proper defense. But what is that? Is it where a lawyer forcibly and blindly gets an acquittal through shouting and trickery? Ironic that you of all people should say such a thing. Isn't that exactly how you have fought for your clients up until now?
No? I don't know why the game keeps trying to insist that Phoenix tricks people. Like, every time I've ever pressed on something, I knew where I was going with it.
That's because I believed in my clients to be innocent from the bottom of my heart. If I were to get on guard and acquittal, that isn't a proper defense at all. I became a lawyer because I thought I could save people who were suffering and in pain. But when I look at this mess we're in, I can't even protect the person closest to me. Even if I win the case, I still lose in the end. I don't know what to do. Right. Would you get a hold of yourself? You have it all wrong.
Huh?
We aren't some sort of heroes. We're only human, you and I. You want to save someone? That's something easier said than done, wouldn't you say? You are a defense attorney. You can't run away from that. You can only fight. That's all you can do.
People like you and Franziska von Karma are always using all you have to pin me down. You fight to the very end, even when you know the truth is not with you. But I'm not like you. I can't fight for a false verdict, for a man I clearly know to be guilty.
Franziska, she fights for herself. The only thing she fights for is her perfect win record. Which isn't perfect anymore, but I don't know why we keep calling it that, so that's all.
And? Isn't that the same as you? Isn't that why you ran away a year ago? Because your precious win record was destroyed? You are so petty!
I see. Now I understand why you despise me so. However, you are mistaken.
What do you...
Thanks to you, when you sealed off my path to a perfect win record, I began to realize the error of my ways. I realized that things such as a perfect record were meaningless.
What?
I don't believe you.
Are you saying that is why you left the prosecutor's office? But then why? Why are you here now?
The answer to that is something you will find out on your own. I have faith you will see it before the verdict is read tomorrow. But if you can't, then you will be powerless to change the ending of this story.
Mr. Nick, the transceiver!
I'm sorry for what happened earlier.
Now then, Mr. Attorney, do you wager you can obtain an acquittal tomorrow? My, what is the matter, Mr. Attorney? I don't sense your usual anger this time. Tell me, please. Why are you holding Maya hostage for Mr. Onkard's sake? Why are you doing this for that cold-blooded killer?
Right.
Please don't misunderstand things. He is my client. Don't toy with me! A man who hires an assassin is just as much of a killer himself! I believe you were asking me for a reason as to why I am doing what I am. Yeah! This is what I like to call my aftercare. What is aftercare? Oh, Phoenix. Like you don't already know. My name carries a certain amount of honor and dignity, Mr. Attorney. I take great care to ensure that no suspicion falls upon my clients from my handiwork. That is what is called client relations, and it is part of an assassin's duty. Couldn't you just done it when, Ongard was on stage or surrounded by lots of people so that none of this would have happened? An assassin's duty? We were unlucky this time, and my client was arrested as a suspect. As a result, I did what I had to do to enlist your expert help, to ensure that you would do everything in your power to the very end. What is your name? I believe I told you once before, however. You did, but my name is the Killer. Shelley the Killer.
You are Shelley the Killer?
Please keep in mind, you do not have much space to maneuver with me. As a killer, I always finish what I set out to do. If you fail to keep up your end of the bargain, Maya! It would be my duty as an assassin to see to it she receives a nice long nap. Ah, no! Now then, if you'll excuse me, if someone were to trace this signal back to me, it would be quite troublesome. Mystic Maya! Mystic Maya!
I don't know what to say.
Edgeworth! Did you hear that? At the end of the transmission?
Oh, that. It sounded like a cat?
A cat? It can't be. That cat, can it? What is it? I think I know where Shelley the Killer is holding Maya hostage. Edgeworth, have all the police units head for Ongard Mansion immediately.
All right. You hurry over as well then.
Don't lose hope yet, Pearls. The fight has only just begun. Yeah! So, we found out once that I can save mid... Okay, there we go. I don't know if it works. Okay. I think you have to go to the hotel first. I don't know, that's so weird. Maya! Please answer us, Mystic Maya!
We have this area completely surrounded. There is no way for him to escape. assuming he's still in the area.
I can't believe it. That butler all this time. He was the killer.
He and Angard were working together all this time. I'm sure they had worked out a contingency plan ahead of time.
There's a bear in front of the... Oh, it's the figurine of a bear! There are a lot of cuts in it for some reason. A bear? Isn't that more of a thing for Mr. Kurita? Why would something like this be here?
Wright, look down. There's a little pet door installed here.
I'm sure that's for Shu. Do you think this came through that little door?
The door, it's locked.
I'm pretty used to breaking doors down by now. Let's go, Edgeworth!
Well done.
Ugh, there's no one here!
From the looks of this room, I would say this is Angard's private lounge. Look at this, Wright.
An antenna for sending and receiving radio signals and a VCR. Check inside the desk. If there's a tape... The deck. If there's a tape, it would be an important piece of evidence. If we're lucky, it'll have the moment the crime was committed recorded on it.
I'm sorry, but the tape deck is empty. There's no tape to be found.
No.
But there's no mistake that someone used this to record something. It looks like someone took the tape we're looking for and escaped with it.
It's a VCR and an antenna. The footage that the spy camera took at the scene of the crime was beamed here and recorded on tape. If only we had that tape, it would be really helpful. A huge television and speakers loom here. I'm sure if Maya was here, she'd say, I would die a happy samurai fan if I could see the nickel samurai on a TV like this. It's Angard's computer. Maya, why couldn't you use this to get help? Mr. Nick, where's the power switch? Oh, I get it. She couldn't find the power switch. It's a very small table. I bet we could barely squeeze 3 pearls on here. What a spacious sofa. We could get 10 pearls on here. I can't read the labels, but this is a very large collection of videotapes. I don't see anything to do then. Oh! We've searched all over, but it looks like he got away.
I'm sorry. It looks like he slipped out of our grasp this time.
And now we've lost our only lead.
Don't give up yet. That little girl is looking to you to be her pillar.
You're right.
We're close, I can tell. We've already set up checkpoints along every route leading out of this district. Leave the rest to us.
Maya. What is this? This looks like a picture of Miss Impax. With love, Celeste. Miss Impax? You mean... Yes, Mr. Kurita's former manager. Why would a picture of Miss Impax be in Mr. Angard's mansion?
And why does it say, with love? This might be a clue.
Ah!
What's wrong, Pearls?
Please let me see that picture frame. What's so special about the frame? On the back, there's something written on the back of the frame. Maya.
Oh no! Maya killed someone and they left her name as evidence.
It's Mystic Maya. She left us a message. I thought you'd come. I knew you would. Now listen up. You'd better get Angard a guilty sentence, okay? If you get that creepy slime bag and not guilty, I'll never forgive you. I'm fine, so you don't need to worry. There's so much I want to write, but I don't think I have a lot of time left. Pearlie, you're there too, right? Make sure you help Nick, okay? Someone's gotta watch out for the helpless slunk. That's it for now, Nick. I'll talk to you later, guys. Yeah. Mystic Maya!
Right! What's wrong? Why the blank stare?
Nothing.
We've searched the house and this is the last room. It looks like he eluded us.
Edgeworth.
Yes.
As far as clues go, I think this is about all I'm going to get. But I'm still short one last thing.
And what is that? Miss Andrews' psyche lock. If I can find out what secret she's holding, I think I stand a chance in court tomorrow to blow this case wide open and expose the truth. I think I know what you're thinking. I'll contact the detention center. Thank you, Edgeworth.
Well, let's go, Pearls. It's time to open that last lock.
Good evening, Mr. Wright.
What's wrong? You look ill.
Miss Andrews, I have come to remove your psyche lock.
Psyche lock?
I want to know, and you will tell me your secret.
Fine, go ahead. Try to break me if you can.
Take that!
Can you please tell me why you framed Mr. Ongard for the murder?
I've already told you countless times. It's because I thought Matt was the killer.
No, that's not it. I know you have a personal reason to dislike Mr. Ongard. Miss Andrews, you may think I didn't hear it, but I know you said something earlier. You said revenge.
So you were saying I was taking my revenge out on Matt, and that's why? What an absurd idea. I don't have anything I want to take revenge for.
Miss Andrews, a woman who lives by being dependent on other people. There is something or someone in her past that would make her take revenge.
Take that!
Celeste?
There is only one catalyst that could cause such strong feelings for revenge, and that is Miss Impax's suicide.
What are you trying to say?
Celeste was Juan's manager. On top of that, the one who hid her suicide note was also Juan. What does all this have to do with Matt? You're right, you haven't mentioned him yet. But for you to hate Mr. Ongard, it would mean that he must have some relation to Miss Impax and her suicide.
Can you explain to me this relationship between Celeste and Matt?
Take that!
This is a photo of Miss Impax, correct? She looks younger than when she passed away, though. With love, Celeste. This is Miss Impax's handwriting, isn't it?
Where did you find this?
No, that's all right. It was a rhetorical question. Yeah, it is. I found this in Mr. Ongard's mansion.
And after all this time, my last remaining secret has been revealed.
So she flips her hair back, and there's scars on her side of the eye, and they're matching. And when they combine their powers, they turn into Adrian. No, probably not.
Celeste, she was supposed to get married to Juan.
Yes, but I heard it didn't work out.
Because Mr. Kurita didn't want to get married to her anymore, right?
Yes, because of Matt.
Because of Mr. Ongard? What do you mean?
I think I can see where this is going.
Celeste, she was Matt's manager a long time ago. She was the happiest woman in the world at the time. I was working part-time back then, and I often saw the two of them together.
So that's why, with love, Celeste is written on the frame of that picture.
They were a couple, weren't they?
It wasn't anything as splendid as that. Celeste was being used, toyed with, until she was thrown away.
That's so horrible.
Matt's entire image is built around how nice and wonderful of a man he is. A scandal would have destroyed that. Which is why Celeste, in her kindness, moved over to Worldwide Studios. And that is where she met Juan. She seemed really happy with him, even happier than when she was with Matt. Celeste and Juan were such a good match that they were even planning to get married. And then, it was suddenly called off. On the night Juan called their marriage off, Celeste
killed herself. And that's why I framed Matt. It was revenge for Celeste and for myself. I'm sure even you can guess why Juan called the wedding off, right? Matt confessed to Juan about his relationship with Celeste.
I see. So that's what happened.
What? Why did Mr. Kurita have to call off the wedding? Seriously. I don't understand at all.
It was probably because of his worthless male pride. Juan and Matt were always fierce rivals. Matt waited for the wedding announcement and then unleashed the truth on Juan. He was aiming for when it would hurt Juan the most.
Poor Miss Impacts.
Yeah, I don't like either of these two men. That wasn't the end of it. That day, I'm almost certain Celeste left a suicide note behind. And in that note, she left a detailed account of Matt's various misdeeds, and so that she would never again be hurt by Matt, she chose to die. Then when Juan discovered her body, he hid her note.
Why would he do that?
It's simple. Juan realized that note was a powerful weapon against Matt, and it would be especially damaging to his refreshing like a spring breeze image. In any case, with his pride hurt, Juan sought revenge. Revenge! There's that word again. Juan wanted to publicly disclose the contents of that suicide note. At a time that would cause Matt the most damage, of course. And that was at the press conference after the stage show. I know all about it, because I heard it all from Juan. It was so I could find out about all this that I drew close to Juan to begin with. They're quite a pair of hideous monsters, aren't they? Yes, actually agreed! Even Celeste's death was something for them to use in their game. That night, when I found Juan's body, it was only natural that I thought the murderer was Matt. Those two were always spying on one another after all. As for me, I was frantically searching for Celeste's suicide note. I wanted to destroy it before it ever went public. I was going to burn it. I had even brought a lighter. But I couldn't find the suicide note, and that's when revenge crossed my mind. Yes, I was going to bring them my own kind of cruel revenge. Celeste was killed by those two monsters. So when I stabbed Juan's body with a knife, I didn't feel a single shred of guilt.
And that's all I had to say. Well, Mr. Wright, even knowing all this, are you still going to help that man?
I'm a lawyer. I see. What a foul profession. Thank you very much for your time and for talking with me. It was no big deal. I couldn't sleep anyway. I can't sleep either. Not with Maya's situation or with what I know now.
I don't know what to say. I mean, I completely understand why Adrian did what she did. I mean, obviously I don't normally approve of framing people, but framing someone for a murder that they committed is I understand why. I understand. I think
Adrian is the first person that that was guilty of something. Who I, so far that I can think of anyway, it's been a while since I played all the cases, but she's the first person that I'm like, yeah, okay, let's take it easy on them, because I get why she felt pushed into this. I don't know how how the case will unfold from here. I think what I would do is, assuming an American system, which this isn't, assuming an American system, I would get Matt acquitted for committing the actual act of murder, which he did not do. Somebody else did. And somebody else needs to go to prison for it. I would get him acquitted for the actual act of murder, and then have him arraigned on charges of conspiracy to commit. Where his facial scars supposed to be? I thought we were building up to, like, you know, there was some kind of, like, terrible road accident with Celeste, and that was why he dumped her or something, because of, you know, the trauma of she brought back his you know, she became a trigger after they had a motorcycle accident together or something. But apparently he just has scars because he's evil. I don't like that. Scars are beautiful and wonderful and lovely, and I have many. They're not, they don't make you evil. So that's kind of weird. And I don't know what Powers is supposedly a decisive witness about. That's strange. He was with us the entire night, so what could he possibly have seen? Or most of the night anyway. So that's kind of weird. Especially since I'm not sure what Edgeworth's theory of the case is now. Is he actually going to present a theory that an assassin killed Juan, and that Matt was the one who hired him? I mean, that is the truth, but is he actually going to present that theory, or is he going to keep trying to barrel towards, yes, Matt personally killed Juan with his personal hands? Because that's going to bother me if we go that route. So hopefully we will not. But one way or the other, we will solve this. We are going to save Maya, because it would literally break my heart. It would crack and bleed out, and I would die if Maya were not saved. So it's going to be okay one way or another. And I do completely agree that I think this case would have been much better if it was Francisca and Edgeworth working together and her coming to some of the same conclusions he's already made as far as why they do this job. Than the way it is now. I don't know what you do in a situation like this with a lawyer. Fun fact, I was once in a book club that was, it was 2 engineers. I was one of the engineers. It's 2 engineers and like 10 lawyers. And what had happened was my other friend, also an engineer, had been invited by her lawyer to the book club. And so the book club was a bunch of lawyers who all knew and worked together. One engineer who was a client, and then another engineer who was a friend of the engineer. So we're in a room full of lawyers, and we're, just standing around drinking, Dr. Pepper and wine and stuff. And getting ready for book club, but we're not started yet. And I said, I have a question. I've always wanted to ask a room full of lawyers this question, but this is the first time I've ever been in a room full of lawyers. So they're all, okay, what's the question? They found us very amusing, us engineers. And I said, okay, I'm not planning to or anything, but if I ever commit like a murder or something, and my lawyer is I get a lawyer to defend me. is it better for me to tell you the truth about what happened so you can defend me to the best of your ability? Or would you want your client to lie to you and say, no, I'm totally innocent, so that you can defend them with a clear conscience? Like which is better? Because you can't really ask once you're the murderer, because at that point, just asking kind of, well, okay, now I know who did it, you know? So it was actually very interesting, because I was expecting one answer, and I got literally like the three that were paying the most attention. The first one was like, yes, definitely tell me. The next one was like, absolutely don't tell me. And then the third one was like, it's gonna depend on the situation. I'm like, well, that didn't help at all. But I think I would want to hire the one that wanted to know the full story, so that they could give the best defense. And I don't know how that works, because I know as a lawyer you're not supposed to suborn perjury. You're not supposed to put someone on the witness stand knowing they're going to lie. There are ethical obligations, but you aren't just supposed to defend your client. You're also supposed to not willingly, knowingly, complicitly subvert the justice system. So I get that. But at the same time, I'm not sure, you know, in Phoenix's case, I don't know what you do here. If there's like an ethics board you can go to, assuming Maya wasn't kidnapped. I don't know what you do here if there's an ethics board or whatever. Or if the best thing to do is to just give a really lousy defense so that the guy goes to jail because you failed, you know, that also seems ethically fraught. If you give him the best defense possible, including letting him go on the witness stand and lie, that seems ethically fraught. Like, all of it seems ethically fraught. I don't know what you do. But at the same time, guilty people I mean, I guess at that point, if someone was genuinely guilty, I would, like, try to get them a really good plea deal and plea it out. But there's always a chance that someone like Matt would be like, no, I don't think I want to do that. And B, those don't seem to exist in this game. So, but anyway, that was apparently the real Matt Engard with a goblet of wine, just out of nowhere. Amazing. Really amazing. Refreshing like a spring breeze from the nearest sewage plant. It still works. He wouldn't have to rebrand. So that has been, I don't even know what part that was. I've been lettering them in my personal system, and then they get part names, numbers. So A, B, C, D, E, F. It was F, so that's 5. That's part 5. Does that sound right? That was part 5. I'm excited that hopefully I'll make my deadline and put this up so we won't have a gap in coverage. I don't know when the next ones will go up. If there is suddenly a gap, then just please know that it was life stuff happening and not because I'm not bored with the game at all, I swear. Everything has been really, really stressful, actually. But it's going to be okay. I have to believe that, because that's how we keep going. And I will see you in the next video. I love you all. Thank you so much. I love your comments. I seriously, I like refresh a couple times a day because I love all your comments, because I want to see, oh, new comments come in. So thank you so much for that. I'm really grateful to everyone who's following along. Like, bless you, honestly, so much. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.